Hey, you know the drill. Stories, internet, guys, whatever. Let's just start reading. No, I won't move from my reserve seat. Your child is 23 and doesn't need to sit with you. So this isn't going to go down in entitled parents folklore, but it happened to me yesterday and I just needed to share it somewhere. This is a standard entitled mom, entitled kid, and me tale. I was traveling on a train yesterday afternoon back from seeing some friends. I was basically traveling the entire length of the route with a journey around 9 hours going over 450 miles north. So a long time. I had a reserved seat for the whole journey, with the seat next to me switching from being reserved for some of the journey for an hour or two, then being vacant. At around hour 6 of my journey, the train was becoming very busy with families going home from day trips out. The next stop saw the person sitting next to me depart, and a woman who was looking and action as if the group of scraggy students, like me, and families with little ones were far beneath her, got on with a woman who looked my age, who were both looking around for a seat. The older woman, hereafter entitled mom, saw the space next to me and made a beeline for it, with the other woman, entitled kid, in tow. This is the conversation that followed. Hi, I think you're in my daughter's seat. I was like, oh, really? I'm pretty sure this is my seat that I reserved. Doesn't it say so on the display? The train I was on had an automatic display saying whether or not a seat was reserved, and my seat said it was reserved from my departure station to my arrival, while the seat next to me said that it became reserved at a station about an hour away. She says, no, the screen's gone off. These are seats for me and my kid. Now move. At this, I got out of my seat and looked at the screen, which still said it was reserved, and quickly sat back down. I say, nope, it still says it's my seat. The seat next to me seems free for a while if one of you wants to sit down. Why can't you just move? We're probably traveling further than you anyway. I say, sorry, but I'm really not gonna move. Then the mom raises her voice to attract the attention of others. I can't believe you won't have the dignity to let me sit here next to my child. She can't just go and sit on her own. I say, how old are you? She says, 23, so probably older than you. You really should do what I say. I'm 21 and I look it. I say, seriously? I won't move from my reserved seat. Your child is 23 and doesn't need to sit with you. I was feeling petty, and so rose my voice to mimic the entitled mom when saying this. She says, that's it, we're getting the staff. I will not be spoken to like this by a child. With that, they both left the carriage, and I didn't hear anything from any member of staff or anyone else. Though a lovely little old lady who was sitting across from me said that she probably would have sworn like a sailor at the entitled mom and kid if they'd spoken to her like that when they'd gone out of earshot. The icing on the cake was that the train stopped around half an hour later, so 2 stops after the entitled mom and kid got on. I saw them both getting off and walk up to the platform. It took everything not to give them a little wave as they skulked past. You know, it's kind of weird that these people were using 2 different arguments that both kind of contradicted each other. One was, my daughter is too young to be sitting on her own, and the other was, my daughter's probably much older than you, so she should have your seat. So it's like, okay, so if you're older than me, and I'm okay to be alone, but you're too young to be alone. I don't even know where to go from this, let's just move on. A literal choosing beggar. So there was this beggar woman in my old neighborhood. I'd give her $1 or 2 sometimes. I felt sorry for her because she had a kid she used to drag around. She got used to it, so she started knocking on my door daily. I was okay with giving her $1 on the street, but knocking on my door was not okay. Every time she knocked, I would decline giving her money until I stopped opening the door altogether. One day I was returning home and I saw her through the corner of my eye coming towards me. I pretended I didn't see her, opened the door, walked inside and closed it. She starts knocking on the door aggressively. I say, hey, what's going on? She says, hey man, I need money. I say, look, I'll give you money sometimes on the street when I can spare it, but you can't go knocking on my door. Please, I need it. You are one of the only good guys around here. I was like, okay, here's $2, but never knock on my door again. She looks at the $2 disappointed. What's this? I have to buy medicine for my child. She always said that. The kid was fine. I need at least $10. I pause for a minute. So it's not enough then? She says, no, I need 10 or more. I say, okay, I see. I extended my hand to her and she gave back the $2, probably expecting me handing her a larger bill. But I said, okay, then bye, and closed the door. Never gave anything to her again. Man, I see a lot of panhandlers around like the freeway exits or maybe downtown, but that sounds terrible having one like in your neighborhood that's just gonna follow you around. That seems like a really bad idea to get them dependent on you. Prove you deserve a raise. So I started a new job last October through a temp service, working for a warehouse that stores and ships various products. To start, the pay wasn't terrible, but it definitely wasn't great. The only saving grace was that after 3 months I would be moved to a full-time position with a $1 an hour raise. I didn't plan to stay, but the work environment was actually pretty laid back. Unlimited breaks, no micromanagement, and good coworkers. And I was putting in 15 to 20 hours a week overtime, so I was making more money than I ever have before. even with the lower hourly wage. With all of that, I decided to make this a long-term job. So for the next 3 months, I put my all into this job, and management told me constantly I was doing great. After 3 months, I was due for my raise, but management told me since it was so close to yearly raises for everyone, a month, I would get a 25-cent raise now and a bigger one after yearly reviews. I figured a month wasn't a big deal, and they told me it would end up bigger than $1 that I was originally going to get, so I agreed. A month later, I was called in for my review and given a very positive review, with minor deductions for cleaning up messes after projects being their only negatives. I left happy and excited to see what my raise would be. A week later, they revealed raises in another set of individual meetings. I went into mine hoping for $2.50, but realistically guessing a $1. The boss starts by telling me a coworker told him I complained about working with a set of temp workers. I did, it was 2 or 3 days before, while out having a smoke break, and that I told him I thought I was too good to work with them, which I never had and never would have said. From then, he told me I wasn't cutting it as an employee and he was holding my raise for 6 months. He ended the meeting with, "You have to prove you deserve a raise." 6 months later, and I'm happy to say I was able to prove I deserve a raise. Not just to him. I start my new job Monday. The best part is, the raise he was withholding from me was 76 cents, making my total 1 cent higher than I should have gotten after 3 months. The pay raise to my new job? $7 higher than my current pay. See, I've actually never had the experience of negotiating raises wherever I've been. I usually just get jobs where they're like, alright, here's what you gotta do, just go keep doing that, and then I do for a long time, and there's nowhere to move up. So I just say, hey, if you're not gonna move me up or anything, then I'm just gonna move on. Now we've got, don't want to stop bullying in your school? Fine. So I am the mom of 2 boys that are 4 years apart. We live in a bigger city, and the city is known for having the worst schools in the country. They are overcrowded and underfunded. Middle schools and high schools having over 2,000 students and not enough teachers. My older son, we'll call him Evan, promoted into middle school, and instantly his grades fell from straight A's to straight F's. I found a gem in the city in the form of a charter school that went from 6 to 12, with the entire school's headcount at 300 students. I got my son into the school and saw an immediate turnaround in his grades. Now, the requirements for graduation were as follows: 230 credits including 9 college credits, 145 hours of community service, and they had to go to DC in their senior year and present their project they had worked on since 6th grade, in front of the monument they chose. Sorry for the intro being so long, but it's important later. So fast forward 3 years, Evan is heading into high school, and his younger brother Jack is heading into 6th grade, at the charter school. Jack is a kind-hearted kid and an absolute rule follower. He sticks to himself, aside from a few friends, and causes zero trouble for anyone. Soon, after he starts being bullied, Evan tries to help out, but they have a different schedule, so it's hard to stop it, aside from lunch. This goes on for 2 years, with me spending countless hours going to meetings and begging them to uphold their zero-tolerance policy for bullying, which goes nowhere. Jack hits 8th grade running. He comes home with a Certificate of Honor roll at a 4.0, and I was proud. Now, Jack had over the last 2 years befriended the discipline coordinator as a second mom in the school. We will call her Mrs. C. He spent a lot of time in her office hiding from bullies, and she never minded him being there. 2 weeks after he brought home the 4.0, I get a call from Mrs. C. This is how it went. Says, "Hi parent, I have Jack in my office. He has just told me he plans to kill himself and has a plan." I say, "Oh my gosh, I'll be right there." So Dad and I work full time. I leave for work and head there. We take Jack straight to the ER and it all comes pouring out. Not only are the kids bullying him because he is heavy, but teachers are too. I am pissed. I call the principal and ask for a meeting the next afternoon. He agrees. So I'm meeting with the principal and tell him what just came out, and he tells me that it is not possible. I reminded him of all of our meetings, and I had been asking for help. To which he says, "Yes, I remember, but we never had any evidence other than your word." Now I'm in a rage. I tell him Jack will need work from home packets, as he is not able to attend classes till he is able, and I feel safe. I tell him it is his responsibility to keep my kids safe on his grounds, and I head home. Fast forward 2 months, and Jack heads back to school with promises from the principal that it will not happen again. Week 1, all good. Week 2, and it goes to crap. Side note, Jack is 5'11" and about 190 pounds. Jack is playing football with a few friends, and Bully joins the game. Jack decides it's not worth it and walks away. The bully throws a rock, hitting Jack in the back, and yells, "Bring your tits back here." Even hears this from his group of friends. Sees his brother and the look on his face, and he knows instantly that his brother snapped. This is Evan's account to me about what happened. So Jack walks back onto the field and waits for the snap. Bully backs up and throws the ball. Jack keeps at him, grabs him one-handed by the throat, and slam dunks him to the ground. He chokes the bully out, then turns and clotheslines both of his friends one by one before coming out of it and realizing he had hurt his friends. He breaks down in tears and heads straight to Mrs. C's office and turns himself in. Evan was cheering for him as he went. I get a call at work again. Says, "Hi parent, I have Jack in my office and this is what happened." I say, do I need to come down there? He says, no, he's not in trouble. I'm proud of him for standing up for himself. He wants to apologize to his friends that are on their way now. I say, what about the rest of the day? He says, well, he will stay with me until Grandma picks him up. I say, thank you, C, you're the best. I talked to Jack for a moment to calm him down and tell him that I was also proud of him. That I will see him at home and tell him that I love him, then hang up. The plan. I'm going to expose this school for the bully factory they are. I was told countless times that I had to be able to prove what was happening. I have friends who own an IT company, and I tell them what is going on and what I would like to do. They agree, and we schedule a time the next night to set it up. I explained to my son I needed him to put up with it for one more week and that we would then be able to homeschool as long as he needed. Now, the school does not offer permanent homeschool, so this is why I did what I did. They wanted to take no responsibility, then wanted to ship the kids back to BS schools because he couldn't handle the work. The next night, I brought beer, and my friends went to work installing the smallest security camera I've ever seen. When done, they handed me a loaner laptop and showed me how to access the files. All set. Over the next week, I watched countless times my son being bullied. It was heartbreaking and hard to watch. He never seemed to be doing anything other than existing. I'm sure he wasn't completely innocent, but nonetheless, it was hard. I downloaded every single event, compiled it into a short movie, and loaded it onto a thumb drive. I head to the monthly board meeting that night and asked the teachers to insert the drive and play the file. Before them was a collective video of my son being bullied relentlessly. They were dumbfounded, and a couple of them even cried. When it was over, I told them that they were going to make a home study plan for my child so he could stay in their school and graduate from the school. It was that, or I would sue the school for endangering the life of a child who asked for help and had threatened to take his life. They agreed. I asked for the drive back, and the principal took it, saying that he needed it for evidence. Okay. So pro-revenge. Fast forward a few more years, and Jack is 4 months from graduating. Now, this crap he went through caused him to be diagnosed with bipolar disorder, with acute anxiety disorder. My son can't function as a normal person. He relies heavily on me to do anything outside the house. He's also medicated for the issues. This has stopped him from doing the college classes, because he can't go into public without shutting down. He did the community service by fostering kittens, so he is missing the 9 college credits and the trip to DC. Made up requirements from this school. Now, as you could tell, my son going to DC is not going to happen. No way, no how. Not without Dad or I, who they said would have to pay our own way, as they forgot to hold chaperone spots for us. So an individual education plan is called. We sit at the table. They start to tell me how my son won't graduate on time and that we need to figure out a continuation school for him. This is where it all hits the fan. I told them they effed up my kid, and they really think I'm going to make him jump through their BS extra graduation hoops? I don't think so. He has done everything he can to stay alive, and this is not going to be a thing. I tell them I will hire a lawyer and sue the school for millions. The principal looks at me and says, with what evidence? I explained to him that the cameras never came down, and I have hours of video of other kids being bullied by other kids and staff, and that I would be happy to turn it over to the district as well. My son graduated on time. He didn't have to fulfill their other requirements, as he was not required to through some hoops hole they made up. I was super proud. He obviously didn't walk with his class, and opted to take pics at home in his cap and gown with family. The files from the camera were anonymously sent to the district in an email to everyone there. The principal was fired for not taking bullying seriously and allowing it to continue. I know I could have sued and won, but that is not the person I am. I just wanted my kid to feel accomplished for actually graduating. Mind you, he met all of the normal school guidelines to do so. This was not a pity diploma in any way. Sorry this was so long, but I do hope you enjoyed the revenge as much as we did. Well then, that was quite the elaborate story. Hopefully the school will make a turnaround when they get a new principal. Alright, now we got one more big story called Omega Karen. So this just happened to me yesterday, and it stands as the biggest WTF moment in my job. A little bit of background. I work as a contracted cell phone technician for a large superstore chain in my country. My job duties entail selling and activating phones and assisting guests with technical issues with their phones. Due to me being a private contractor, I don't answer to any management staff or employee for the superstore, and I am essentially my own boss. So technically, I don't work there as an employee. On top of this, I do have the right to decline service to anyone. However, I never do because I don't want to turn people away just because they are having a bad day. But after what happened today, I'm going to enact my right to do so for any future encounters. I had to clean up the language, so please excuse the weird words in italics. So today I was minding my own business when I was approached by the mythical Omega Karen. So Omega Karen was a 65-year-old woman who had what looked to be about 4 layers of makeup on her face, and a beehive haircut so big she looked like she had a basketball underneath. Her head looked like the Omega symbol too, hence why I called her Omega Karen. She explained to me that her phone was not working. Being the ever so helpful person that I am, I got to work in diagnosing the problem. After doing a quick inspection and tinkering around with the phone, I came to the conclusion that the phone was bricked. I informed her of the revelation. The exchange went a little like this. She says, "So what do we do now?" I say, "Well, ma'am, unfortunately, the best course of action would be to replace the phone. Luckily, I have the same phone on sale for $50. I'm not buying the phone. I bought the phone from here, so I want it exchanged." Okay, ma'am, do you have the receipt for the old phone?" This is when she went from nice old lady to Omega level Karen. "Listen here, you stupid piece of crud. I bought this phone almost a year ago. I don't have the receipt. I bought it here, and now it's defective. Your company has to honor the guest and replace this broken piece of crud. And you're going to do it for free, of charge." I soon realized that this was going to be a crap show, so I decided to try and Tai Chi the situation in an attempt to mitigate the damage. I say, "Okay, ma'am, I understand that you're frustrated, but unfortunately, due to the store's policy, we can't do any exchanges after 30 days of purchase." After the words left my mouth, I realized that I messed up, and she was ready to retaliate. "Bullcrap! You're just trying to scam me out of $50. I'm not having that. It's not my fault that it's a cheap piece of crud. If anything, it's your fault it's broken." All of my whats were expensed after hearing this. She actually was blaming me, a guy she had never seen before, of breaking her phone. I was like, "Ma'am, I'm sorry, but there is honestly nothing the store can do for you. However, because you bought this phone less than a year ago, the warranty should still be replaceable through the carrier warranty. I would be happy to call—" She interrupted me by picking up the stapler and raised to threaten me with it. "You will get me a fudging phone right now, or I swear I will throw this at your fudging head." I say, "Ma'am, threatening me is not going to solve your problem. Now, as I was saying, I can call up the carrier and see if they can replace it under their warranty." She threw the stapler to the ground, breaking it, angrily grabbed her broken phone, told me to go fudge myself, and stormed off. After she left, I picked up the stapler and threw it out. I then continued with the next guest. Now, I wish it all ended here, but unfortunately, God hates me and wanted to prove it. About 5 minutes after she stormed off, she returned, but she wasn't alone. She did what every Karen dreams of doing, and got the store manager. And it wasn't just him, but the security guy as well. The manager says, "This guest has informed me that you won't assist her with her phone. Mind telling me why?" I explained the situation to the store manager, who was looking like he was about to hit me. He then interrupted me by saying, "Okay, and at what point did you throw the stapler at her?" I was confused until it finally dawned on me. The person who threatened me was trying to frame me of assault over a $50 flip phone. I say, "I never did that. In fact, she was the one who threatened me with the stapler." She interrupts me. "Bullcrap, you threw the stapler at me and telling me that you were going to choke the life out of me. I want this man arrested for assault." The security guy approached me. "Is there any way that you can corroborate your story?" I said, "You can check the cameras. They most likely caught the whole interaction." As soon as I said the word camera, she went ballistic. "How dare you believe this stupid punk over me? You should feel ashamed of yourself." The guard says, "Ma'am, we need to make sure that we get the full details of the event so we can better explain it to the authorities." "I don't want to wait for the police. Just fire him and get me someone who can help me." Ma'am, you just said that you wanted him arrested." "Stop putting words in my mouth, young man. Just fire this piece of crud." This is when the store manager finally pipes up and tells her the bad news. "Unfortunately, ma'am, he's a private contractor that handles our phones. We can't fire him because he doesn't work for our company. Now, if he did what you said he did, it would be best to get video proof, that way we can escort him off the property." She relented and agreed to look at the footage. All 4 of us went to the security room to roll back the tape. As soon as we got to the part where she grabbed the stapler and held it up, she starts screaming. "This is bullcrud. All you fudgers are in on it. I'm going to sue you all for tampering with evidence. I will see you all in court." As she began to walk to the door, she noticed me smiling. I soon regretted doing this. She smacked me across the face and spat at me. Luckily, the guard heard the slap and quickly subdued her. After a quick call to the cops, she was handcuffed and put in the back of the squad car. The police asked if I wanted to press charges. All it took was one good look at her for me to say yes. Once I got done with the paperwork, the store manager apologized to me for what happened. He informed me that the Omega Karen was blacklisted and is to be arrested on site if she comes back to the store. I'm currently writing this, laughing at the whole situation. Fudging Karen. You know what they say, there's always a bigger fish. There's always a bigger Karen out there. They also included this picture demonstrating what the haircut looked like. Alright, this video's probably been going on super long, so we got a really quick question of the day. What's the biggest red flag when meeting new people? Subtle signs that they aren't remotely interested in you, and the only way you two are together is maybe because of an obligation or favor. People change their tune often when they have to conceal their feelings of disdain for someone. Yeah, I used to spend time around people who seemed to just be using me for favors, but once you get better at catching on and you stop giving in to them, you might lose them as a friend, but you gain more respect. Everyone here is talking about slightly negative people, but they asked for the biggest red flag, so I'm going to go with having a swastika scar on their forehead. Yeah, if you run into Charlie Manson, I mean, it's a little late for that, but probably don't try to make friends with him. when they start talking about the tons of money I'm going to be making with their new business venture and selling knives door to door. Yeah. Watch out for the multi-level marketing people. Honestly, just stay away from friends who are trying to sell you things in general. You immediately start hearing from them about all the times other people have hurt them, betrayed them, or otherwise been an a-hole to them. If everyone you encounter is an a-hole, chances are you're the a-hole. Story of the Karens. Asking me to PM my ankle. Massive red flag. Wait a second, what's the name of the guy who posted this thread? Well, that's the end. I'm thinking about just doing story videos for like most of this week. You know, I kind of always throw out these story videos as just like a one-off thing, but they always do so much better than my Ask Reddit videos because the algorithm just refuses to recommend me to the Ask Reddit crowd. So we'll see what happens. We'll try it out for a week. Anyways, thanks for watching.